Why are the Republicans increasingly attacking Joe Biden over his age and mental health? Does Biden really suffer from mental acuity? And what is the evidence? Biden's presidency has been littered with fumbles and gaffes, including tripping 3 times on the stairs of Air Force One to forgetting the name of Australia's Prime Minister during a joint televised conference. Some say he is merely under too much stress and suffering from fatigue. They point out that the president's schedule has been extra busy and overwhelming due to COVID. Others say there is more to the story, and he should step down because it is embarrassing and bad for the United States. Welcome to World Econ News, your daily dose of economics and finance. If you're interested in topics influencing the world economies and global financial flows, this is the place for you. Watch till the end if you want to get the latest answers. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification button to get the latest updates. Let's go. The Republicans and the American right wing in general, along with the conservative half of the US media, are not sparing any ammo in attacking current US President Joe Biden. They are even attacking his age and mental health. Of course, their obsession with Biden's alleged mental acuity is not random, because in recent months, Biden's innocent, non-insulting gaffes, fumbles, and forgetful behavior has gone out of control. Most of these unintentional slip-ups by Biden seem to be funny and a possible result of exhaustion and tiredness. It is important to state here that Biden is not being accused of being egocentric or crazy. He is being accused of talking rather funny during a few of his speeches and interviews. However, the same cannot be said about his predecessor Donald Trump. Many commentators, such as Rachel Maddow, Scott Dworkin, Eric Garland, Amy Siskind, James Comey, and other Democrats, promoted the idea that President Donald Trump was crazy and mentally incapacitated. But no one is saying any of this about Biden. However, there are increasing demands that he undergo cognitive testing. I will talk about his interesting medical history later in this video. You probably already know that Biden was caught napping during the 2021 COP26 climate change conference. Hence, it is safe to assume that the 79-year-old president is not getting enough sleep. Nevertheless, there are experts, including people who support and love Biden, who have expressed serious concerns that his slip-ups are signs of dementia, and there is a possibility that he is no longer fit to hold office. Of course, their allegations are highly elaborative and disputed. The bottom line here is that attacks on Biden by the Republicans and their base are purely political, with the aim of creating legal circumstances that can lead to early presidential elections. However, most experts agree such wishful thinking is far-fetched and very unlikely. The Republicans and some of the right-wing media, not just in America but also in countries like the UK and Australia, have gone as far as accusing the major American mainstream media outlets such as CNBC, ABC, CNN, and the New York Times of establishing a media protection racket around Biden, with the aim of making him look more presidential while polishing his image and covering up his occasional bizarre behavior. I will move on to discuss Biden's medical history, along with some important facts about him. Joe Biden is the oldest president of the United States of America, the first to have a female vice president. He was born on November 20th, 1942. He served as the 47th vice president from 2009 to 2017 under Barack Obama. His early presidential activity centered around proposing, lobbying for, and signing into law the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021 to help the United States recover from the COVID-19 pandemic and the ongoing recession, as well as a series of executive orders including rejoining the Paris Agreement on climate change. Joe Biden had a stuttering problem since childhood, which might explain some of his current fumbles. In February 1988, he underwent a surgery to correct a leaking intracranial berry aneurysm. While recuperating, he suffered a pulmonary embolism and had a second aneurysm that was surgically repaired. On December 18, 1972, Biden's wife Nelia and 1-year-old daughter Naomi were killed in a traffic accident while Christmas shopping. His sons Joseph and Hunter survived the accident. Biden's son, Joseph Biden III, died of a brain tumor in 2015. Some allege that Biden is in the early stages of Alzheimer's. However, they did not provide any concrete evidence. Medical experts agree that having fumbles, gaffes, and being forgetful 5% of the time, for someone in his late 70s with a full schedule and huge responsibilities, does not mean anything, nor is it a sign of a serious condition. Medical experts also agree that age isn't always the determining factor when it comes to cognitive decline. They also say sleeping during a meeting is a sign of extreme tiredness or lack of sleep, not Alzheimer's. The Republicans allege that Biden reads only from a teleprompter or piece of paper. However, Trump used to do the same, and when he was not, well, we all remember how he sounded and what kind of stuff he used to say. Some Democrats argue that if the Republicans are so obsessed with Biden's mental health due to age, then they should also address that Trump is 75 years old, egocentric with a history of odd behavior, and will be 78 years old when the next presidential elections are due in 2024. Let's now take a look at some of Biden's gaffes and fumbles. Biden once told a truck driver, "I used to drive a tractor trailer." The White House has conceded that it is not true. During the election campaign, he said, "I think we can win back the House," when it was already in his party's hands. He called Super Thursday Super Tuesday. He forgot the name of Australia's Prime Minister during a joint televised conference. He called him the guy down there. In another speech, he forgot the words of the Declaration of Independence. He said, "We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women are created by the, you know the thing." He once misstated what office he was running for. He said, "My name's Joe Biden. I'm the Democratic candidate for the Senate." He was running for the president. On more than one occasion during rallies, he forgot which state he was in. He called his son the Attorney General of the United States. He confused British Prime Minister Theresa May with Margaret Thatcher. He once forgot the name of his Defense Secretary, Lloyd Austin, at a White House event, calling the Pentagon chief the guy who runs that outfit over there. Democratic Senator Cory Booker told CNN in an interview, "There's a lot of people concerned about Joe Biden's ability to carry the ball across the end line without fumbling." Bernie Sanders used the "Where is Joe" hashtag during the elections campaign, implying that Biden's campaign was keeping him in the basement. Mike McCormick, who worked 15 years as a White House stenographer and with Biden from 2011 to 2017, said, "He has lost a step, and he doesn't seem to have the mental acuity he had 4 years ago. He doesn't have the energy. He doesn't have the pace of his speaking." The fact that Biden is doing badly in the polls does not translate to a shift of support toward the Republican Party, but rather it signals that Biden is not delivering good economic numbers. However, a new Politico Morning Consult poll shows just 44% of voters approve of Biden's job performance and 46% say he's mentally fit. This means voters have increasing doubts about the health and mental fitness of President Joe Biden. According to the poll, only 40% of voters surveyed agreed with the statement that Biden is in good health, while 50% disagreed. According to Celinda Lake, a Democratic pollster, the Republicans are running a very aggressive campaign on this, and it's bleeding over into the mainstream a little. By and large, the people who believe this are Trump supporters anyway, or they've been exposed to the right-wing disinformation machine. There are some rumors that Biden's advisors often try to keep him from answering reporters' questions. Biden himself often says, "I'm really going to get into trouble," before opening the floor to questions. The last time Joe Biden performed a full health checkup was a little less than 2 years ago. Back then, Dr. Kevin O'Connor of George Washington University released a 3-page medical summary of Biden's health. He described Biden as a healthy, vigorous 77-year-old male who is fit to successfully execute the duties of the presidency, to include those as chief executive, head of state, and commander-in-chief. As of right now, Biden is unlikely to weather the storm about his mental acuity until he passes a new cognitive test. In the long term, the issue of his age and mental health in general is likely to rule him out of the next elections. Hence, it is safe to assume that the Democrats are looking for a new presidential candidate for the 2024 elections. Would you like to learn more about what influences the world economies and global financial flows? Click on one of the videos that showed up on the left or go to our channel to find other interesting topics.